Thank you so much, Joanne. Hopefully you can hear me all right, and
I
hopefully
can.
now you can see my screen.
Yep, I can.
All right. So again, thanks everybody for joining us today on this Monday. Let me just get my presentation up and running. As Joanne said, my name is Tom Gabriel. I'm a solution consultant here at GSI, and what we're here to talk about today is we're here to understand for your organization what exactly should you be looking to accomplish when you're out there in the marketplace looking for an ERP solution. You should be understanding that that solution should give your organization a very quick time to gain value back on your investment of the software and the tools and the services. And all of that should actually help lower the cost of ownership for all of those things. So you should be able to get out there in the marketplace, provide value to your organization, provide value to your users, and you should be able to do that with a system that is very flexible in its configuration, as well as very personal rather than requiring a lot of customization. And what I mean by personalization is your users, your organization should be able to utilize the tool set within the ERP package itself in order for your users to accommodate their needs rather than looking to go to IT, rather than looking for custom developments and things of that nature. All in all, that solution should be very scalable because your organization hopefully is going to grow, not only just in revenue, but maybe in size and demographics and things like that. So it should be able to accommodate everything your organization needs, and it should do so being very popular with the tool sets that it uses and its user interfaces. Because today's workforce, that's what they're looking for. So when you're out and about for your organization looking for a new ERP system, you should be looking for something that's bringing you into the digital age, transforming your organization into a digital enterprise, and also leveraging your people so that they become citizen developers within your organization, i.e., they become self-sufficient and help grow from within the tool set that you're buying. So let's talk about your organization and why organizations look for ERP systems. What exactly is your priority? 9 times out of 10, organizations have outgrown what they've had before, or they're looking to change. Maybe they recognize they've been stuck in the past and they have to turn around and modify their business and business process. Or maybe they recognize that their margins are out of control and they have to start to manage those. Whatever it is, you need to make sure that whenever you look for an ERP package, that your evaluation is focusing on those things that are going to meet the priority of the organization. You simply don't want to go out there and buy something just for the sake of buying, nor do you want to go out there and buy a Rolls Royce if all you need is a Chrysler to drive down the street. So look at what you're currently using. Understand what's worked well in the organization, both from an architecture perspective, both from a process perspective, both from a user capability perspective. Do some self-analysis in your organization to understand what is working right, what isn't working right. And when you understand all that, that's going to help you identify priorities within your organization. Because going for a new ERP package, changing your ERP packages, isn't all about just one thing. It's about a bunch of different things that help you solve problems, be they financial problems because you're losing market share, be it operational problems because now it takes more hours to create a widget than it did before. Or maybe it's because of regulatory issues, because now you've expanded in other demographics where now you have to report differently. Or maybe you've taken payroll in-house versus having it outsourced. So you need to understand what exactly are all of these problems you're trying to solve, where are they located, what users, what departments, what processes, all of this you need to understand and know when you go to solicit an ERP solution. So when you're looking to get that operational intelligence, when you're looking to get that solution that provides you with that best of breed, you need to understand that you need to be able to make your decisions on accurate data. You need to make sure that the information you're getting for your selection process is incorporating the correct data. You have to make sure that the solutions that you're looking for are reducing any inefficiencies that you may have in your organization. And you need to make sure that in today's day and age, you get that timely and accurate information on a very quick manner. Your ERP software selection should be a solution that allows your users to be able to manage and work the way they need to by providing operational information that's accurate and timely across the complete supply chain. And that information should be interactive. You shouldn't have to run batch jobs once a day. You should be able to get this information, be able to do this analysis on a 24/7 basis. So look to achieve operational intelligence when you look for your ERP package. So what are some of the common demands of society? And what society means to me is society means not only external, your customers, your vendors, the other organizations you interact with, but society also means to me the people in your four walls, the people within your organization. What do all of those groups of people want? They want to be able to experience a modern workforce that has modern tools and technologies. Your customers are not going to want to fax into you via a fax machine an order. They're not going to necessarily want to develop EDI. They may want to have some other kind of connectivity that's real time. Your workforce wants a modern experience. Internally, your people need to be proactive versus reactive. You want to make sure you know what the issue is going to be for your customer before they do. You want to know when your vendor's not going to be able to supply you goods before they do. You need to, cut it off at the pass so that you don't end up losing things on your side. Be collaborative both inside and outside the organization. ERP systems of the past always pushed to the outside. Now we have a lot of external pressure from the outside causing us to do things differently on the inside. And look for a solution, again, with real-time data available anywhere, anytime, and accurate. Become self-sufficient. Don't let IT become a bottleneck in the organization. And you're going to see later on that most ERP packages today provide you that self-sufficiency. And last but not least, get that operational intelligence across your enterprise. So when we look at ERP systems in the past, what organizations said to themselves was, my God, here we have people and positions and standards and, things that we have to do. And we have a system that's out there that may be scalable or not. We have various job roles and business processes in the, organization. We have a couple of third-party applications and some integrations. And we're looking to get a best practice kind of solution. So in the past, organizations said, well, you know what the value of all this is? The value of all this is getting one overall holistic solution, getting one ERP package that does everything I need it to do, and I can be a happy camper. Well, guess what? In today's day and age, that's not the case anymore. In today's day and age, the true value is decoupling all of that and turning around and recognizing the fact that sometimes you might have to have a multi-tiered solution in order for you to get the best value for your organization. Because today's day and age, things have changed technology-wise so drastically that you're no longer tied to utilizing just one software product to solve your ERP needs. So if you went and you asked Gartner, Gartner is one of the premier sources of industry-leading trends and analysis in technology, they're going to tell you ERP implementations aren't going to go away. ERP is still needed. You still need an ERP system, but those systems are going to adapt now. CEOs, business executives, they still want the same thing. They still want that reliable and integrated data, but they also recognize today that that doesn't need to happen in just one solution. The same holds true for all the business stakeholders. They want the quality they had in the past, but they know that now many of the software products that are out there deliver the same quality that others deliver. So there's no one vendor that's leading the pack. It all depends exactly what it is you're looking for and how do you want to go about accomplishing that solution within your organization. And don't, whatever you do, fall into the rut of looking at a product that's not going to be flexible enough to meet the changes in your business. Because as I said earlier, technology is changing every day. Consumers are changing every day. Your business needs to be able to adapt. And if you're leveraging a tool that cannot adapt to those changes, well, then what's going to happen? Your business is going to be held back. You're not going to be driven forward. You're going to be leapfrogged by other competitors, other organizations. So today's ERP is being deconstructed. And while ERP is still important, you're going to find many coupled environments that provide you with all of that functionality you need. And some of those might be what? Cloud services. Some of those might also be business process outsourcers, people that provide the service to you versus you providing it yourself. So again, understand your organization, understand what you're trying to accomplish, what are your goals? Because today's challenge is trying to cram a round peg in a square hole. It's going to become a maintenance nightmare for you. Your organization, I'm dealing with several clients right now that are looking to go into other markets outside the United States. They've never dealt with Latin America and the requirements in Latin America. They've never dealt with the requirements overseas in Europe. But what they're finding out is that the way they structured their ERP system for the US isn't necessarily helping or configurable for those other demographics, those other areas. And they're going to realize that if they start to customize and they start to make modifications to meet those requirements, they're going to end up being version locked. They're going to end up having a product that's going to be unsupported by the vendor. And they're no longer going to be able to support business growth and expansion. So when you look for ERP, don't think that you need to tie yourself just to one solution, one single-tiered ERP. You could look for a multi-tiered ERP, right? If you look to stay with a single-tiered, you might end up fragmenting your solution. You may end up not meeting all of the requirements that you need, end up having to pay penalties and fees. You may modify and customize your ERP software, number one, spending a lot of money, and number two, finding out that you can't upgrade because upgrades are just going to cost you so much time and effort that you're going to be on the same release you've been on for years. Again, I have other clients I'm dealing with right now that are on the same software solution they've been on for the last 20 years. And when I say solution, I'm not saying the platform, I'm saying the release level. You need to understand that half of ERP customers today are on releases that are at least 2 versions behind the current release, and those versions are at least 4 to 5 to 6 years old or more. And you're missing out on a lot of change. So this is what it looked like in the past. This is what people thought ERP should be. People thought that for my entire organization, regardless of the line of business, regardless of the demographic, regardless of the type of division, everything should be under one ERP system. Well, guess what? The whole reality is that the times have changed. Most organizations now realize that for given lines of business, certain ERPs are better than others. For certain, even within a line of business, certain countries, some ERPs are better than others. So they look to standardize that ERP. They look to understand how do the ERPs fit together, and you have to evaluate all that. So going forward, two-tier ERP solutions are on the rise. And what it does is it reduces your regional requirements, your divisional requirements. It reduces the lead time to implement, right? You turn around, you bought a division, right? Let's say you never did distribution before, you just manufactured. Now all of a sudden you want to get into distributing your product. Well, instead of trying to fit that distribution model in your manufacturing ERP solution, maybe you get a second-tier ERP. Maybe some of you that are in the, education field or health and safety industries, maybe you have a good product, that does a lot within the educational arena, but then on the back end for servicing doesn't do that good a job. Here's some of the drivers of why you might look for a two-tier ERP solution, right? You might find out that you have multiple subsidiaries that are quote-unquote similar in their business, but yet each of them may have their own ERP system, or maybe some of them are on corporate and some of them are on an ERP system. Look to standardize those. It gives you greater agility, gives you greater visibility. If you acquire a lot, maybe they fall one into the other. The nice part about doing that is you only have one integration, but yet all your subsidiaries are using that same integration to integrate back into corporate. If you look to roll out a corporate solution across multiple divisions, think about that. You have to visit each one, understand what the requirements are, try to build that in. If you're into divestitures or mergers and acquisitions, you can quickly and easily layer those in, efficiently manage all of those divestitures. And what's nice about that is if you had a separate ERP for that organization that you spun off, it makes it very easy and increases the value of divesting that entity. What happens? I talked about new lines of business and business models, right? New type of opportunities for your organization. Again, another reason you might look to get a separate ERP. Or you're getting into a new channel. All of these things. Look at your organization, look at your strategic direction, understand what you need to do, and determine if one platform is going to be good enough for you. If you look at a multi-tiered solution, consolidating data is going to result in lower IT costs because you're not going to have to worry about turning around and reinventing the wheel again. You're going to have optimization of all of your regional areas. Again, another personal experience from me is an organization that went through an acquisition, and there's 4 or 5 different divisions in Europe that they acquired. They've decided that it's easier to have another tier ERP for all of Europe versus trying to re-engineer the corporate model they have here in the States. So again, all of that allows for quick, efficient expansion of your organization. Now, I know a lot of people, you hear cloud, a lot of people hear SaaS, a lot of people say, no, I want to control, I want to have my hands on, I want to touch and feel, my own stuff. You can't sell cloud and SaaS offerings short, because what you're able to do is get a best of breed solution that you're going to be able to tie into your ERP solution. And it's a very well suited thing to do when there's no mission critical differentiation that you're looking for. It's very good for you to say, well, geez, I have this one unique thing that we do in our organization that this piece of software would help us do more efficiently. And if you get it as a cloud or SaaS offering and integrate it back into your ERP, that's the best thing for you. But understand that when you look for cloud and SaaS, you still have to have the same rules that you have when you look for your core ERP system. You still need to make sure that it's usable and viable for your organization. And more importantly, you need to understand the integration approach, the service provider and availability, as well as security. You know, a niche product is great, but if it's only offered and supported by one unique vendor, then you're beholden to them, and God forbid something happens, then what, right? So make sure your valuation selection criteria is the same. And when we talk SaaS and we talk cloud, what are some of the considerations there? It's very affordable. You know what you're going to pay. You're not going to have this large out-of-pocket cost for hardware, software, consultancy. You're going to get a subscription that you know how much you need to pay. And if you add users, take away users, you know what that cost is. And the nice thing is it's all inclusive. You get the support, you get the upgrades, the vendor does all the maintenance. You don't have to worry about hardware. You don't have to worry about building out a server room. And you're always able to access it. You don't have to wait for software installation. You don't have to worry about somebody coming in and spinning up more servers, things like that. You can get at it anywhere, anytime. And the vendor guarantees you uptime and has SLAs in place that, God forbid, if they're not, then they're going to have recourse back to you. You don't have to worry about maintenance. You don't have to worry about security. Their facilities are more secure than your facility can be. And they're a very optimized group of individuals, right? SaaS providers, they know they have to keep on the cutting edge. They know they have to keep giving improvements. They know they have to maintain things. So you don't have to worry about your organization being constrained with resources or having to wait for other initiatives to be completed before they can get to your initiatives. So if you do it right, a two-tier strategy is going to make your organization look to innovate, because you know that you can go out there and you can buy or you can get another product that helps you accelerate your entry into a new marketplace, versus saying, if IT says, well, geez, I can't layer this into our ERP solution for another 10 months. Well, you can go out and get a SaaS solution and be up and running within a couple of weeks, right? So it's an easy integration, allows you to have growth. It eliminates and reduces a lot of consultancy costs, both internal and external. And what's nice is you're going to be able to communicate with your customers, because 9 times out of 10, they're utilizing the same kind of process. So in your ERP selection process, don't think that a single solution has to be the answer. Now, there's a fine line between that. You don't want to go out and simply buy something simply because it's nice and shiny and new. You know, there's a fine line between business process reengineering versus just going out and buying software because you're able to process the way you want to process. But in today's day and age, there's no other time than now for you to go out there and look at different type of ERP solutions and software solutions. Niche solution, best of breed, two-tier deployment, just a few examples of your organization, what you can do when you're looking to go purchase a product or an ERP solution. All of that, adding it together, lower cost, more flexibility, better return on your investment. Now, back in the day, cloud, a cited benefit was a reduced implementation cost. But if you ask people today, more than half of them saying that the implementation cost savings were at least 20%, if not higher, right? So again, think about it. Are you wanting to stare a 10-month project, 8-month project with customization, modifications in the face? Or would you rather a 6-week project that has some integration? Even though you deconstruct the ERP systems of the past, you're still going to have greater agility and flexibility. And CIOs, they all know this, and they all know and recognize that you don't need to keep everything in one basket, okay? What other selection concerns are there? What other things do I need to look for when I move forward looking for an ERP solution? The process. Don't make this an ever-ending battle to figure out what it is you need to do. Most ERP selections take 9 months or longer, which is too long. Not only are you spending a lot of time and money, reevaluating what it is you need, a lot of internal efforts and costs, guess what? By the time you decide what it is you need to do, things may have changed. They may have already moved forward. You may have now become disadvantaged and fallen behind from where you were before. We're going to talk about the things you should do. When you start to look for your selection process, make sure that you have measurable qualitative or quantitative terms. You want to have inventory turns. You want to turn around and reduce or, increase the margins by X%. Make sure you have qualitative and quantitative definition of what it is you're looking to do. For each one of those, assign a ranking, not only to what you expect it to do, but the requirements that are needed. So that then when vendors come in and you're looking at ERP solutions, you're able to turn around and mathematically calculate what it is that makes the most sense. It's not just Tom saying, oh, geez, I like this one because they had pretty colors. That's not what you're looking to do. You need to link the expectations to your selection. You need to know that there's features that are going to be nice to have, but they're not required. Do not get swayed. Do not let the nice to haves overrun and dictate versus what's required. You need to know exactly what it is. And you need to make sure the software does the 3 key essentials. It's usable in the organization. The architecture is something that you can support and move forward with. And it's a viable solution to the corporation. Make sure that the ERP selection you have meets these 3 keys. Now, what happens if a couple of ERP packages are close? Well, you need to have a tiebreaker. Where is the vendor located? What time zones do they support? What languages do they support? How many years before the release you're on is unsupported? Do they have a user community where you can get a voice and you could go to conferences? Do they have a large group of people that can help you with the implementation or support of the product? Again, if there's only 1 or 2 vendors, you're going to be beholden to them now for their schedule and what they want to charge. Who's going to be responsible for the system, the vendor or you? And make sure that if you go with a vendor, behind the scenes, they don't have 6 or 7 other people that they need for you to support your system. You don't want to have to worry about so many people being able to support the product you choose. So make sure there's viability. Now, what about your users? Your users are critical in your selection process. You have to make sure that your users are aware and that they're up for the challenge of the new system. You have to engage them. You have to have them have a vested interest. You have to make sure that they have that expertise to be able to use the system. And you want to make sure that if, in fact, a system is going to, quote, alleviate what that user did, how can they be repurposed? How can they be used in the organization? Because, again, it's all about utilizing your resources smarter and being able to use them with less difficulty, okay? So you want your users to become a citizen developer. a person that's able to create new applications or programs on the fly themselves without having to go to IT, using the tool set of the ERP product that you're having. Someone that's not necessarily versed or educated in that quote unquote, development effort, but somebody who can use the system to make themselves work harder and smarter. 4 years ago, IBM did a study, and out of all the companies they solicited, 80% of them, they said 80% of all of our innovations were done by our internal people. If you empower people and you empower your users to become vested and understand what the product is, understand what the initiatives are, you're going to find out that you're going to get a stronger workforce that cares about what they're doing. You're going to find out that the value in your organization of your people and your systems, your value is going to grow the more autonomous you can make your people be. So let them become citizen developers, let them use a product, let them be involved in an analysis of an ERP solution that affords them the ability to say, well, can I do this and can I do that? And I'm not saying they're going to run ragged in your organization and cause a security concern. No, I'm just saying without having to wait for other people to do something so that they can continue to perform and do their job. Let them be empowered, have that authority to do something. Let them turn around and not only enhance the system, but enable and engage other people and integrate the whole workings of your organization. Employee empowerment, the more you empower and the more that you let them lead, the greater your organizational benefit is going to be. You're going to find out that if employees get to, and they're encouraged to be more involved, and you enable them to make bigger decisions, you're going to improve customers' satisfaction, you're going to improve service delivery, because they're going to have a vested interest. So look for an ERP solution that serves your user community as well, okay? Because not everybody is motivated the same way. And if your ERP solution is going to succeed, it needs to be able to adapt to your user community. It needs to be able to speak the language, have the flow that your user community needs. So A, they're not afraid of change, they're more accepting of the change, and they're able to enhance your ERP solution and thereby enhance your business. So empower your users, right? Make them a contributor in the success of your ERP solution by including them in evaluations, by soliciting to them what are the issues, concerns they might have, what do they need so that they can perform better. Because if we do that, your total cost of ownership in your solution is going to go down, right? And your lower cost of ownership means that there's a higher value to the organization. Your return on your investment is going to go up. So, empowerment, letting individuals or groups be involved to make the choices, and when they make those choices, they're able to transform that into better actions, better outcomes within your organization. So make sure, and when you use users in your selection process, go beyond the functional areas that are traditionally involved for that solution. So if your procurement department is having issues and they're looking for some ERP solution, bring in the manufacturing people, right? Bring in the payable people. Let other people that have upstream and downstream touch points for that group in on the selection criteria, because you want to make sure that you're not going to cause hardship up or downstream in the solution you provide. So hand the baton to your users, get them involved. Don't make it a closed door where only a certain group of people are looking to evaluate the ERP solution. You want to make sure that the entire organization is involved so that your overall solution is going to be what you want to accomplish. So again, when we're talking about ERP selection, understand that don't necessarily have to look at just one particular product. You can look at multiple products. You can look and make sure that the integrations are there. You can look and make sure that your user community is involved in the selection process and that they have a voice. And most importantly, make sure that you've identified what it is you need to accomplish. You've rated them so that then when you turn around and perform your selection flow, you're touching on all of these. You've defined the requirement. You've weighted the requirement. You've sent out a request for information. You've tested and have your process scripts, and you've reviewed and ranked and scored everybody. Now you're going to have your vendors come in and actually perform a demo, and then you're going to discuss amongst yourselves, who do you select? So when you go through your ERP selection flow, quickly get down to 3 vendors. Don't turn around and look at 8, 9 different vendors, 6, 7 different vendors. A lot of the vendors are very similar. You should be able to quickly get down to 3. Don't look for things that are common in all of them, right? Before you do your scripted demo, make sure that the companies you're looking at are viable. Make sure that they have references. And make sure that the cost is within your quote. Don't turn around and look at a vendor that you know is going to cost so much more in the hopes of getting them down into where you want your quote. That's probably not going to happen. Use a scripted demo. Don't let the vendor come in and show you what they want to show you, because they're only going to show you the things that they're comfortable with and they know that works. Make sure that you have your scripts identified and make sure you get them to demo that back to you. Don't simply accept yes answers that things can get done. And again, involve your staff in the selection. Involve the people that really do the work and know what's going on in that whole selection process. So, you don't want to have 3 days of demos for every vendor that you've selected, because I guarantee you after the first vendor in the first 3 days, people are not going to want to sit around and watch more. They're going to forget what they've seen. It's going to become very confusing to them and a blur. Don't let vendors turn around and demo stuff like, hey, do I fit in your industry? Hey, can I navigate, right? Can I submit a job? All of these things should be done up front, and you should have already checked on all of them. Make sure that your timeline is very concise. Develop an RFP in about 2 weeks. Give your vendors 3 weeks to quote back, create any other kind of, documentation or things like that that you need them to do in this 3 weeks while you're waiting for their response. Then take some time to evaluate. When it's all said and done, your overall duration should be no more than 16 weeks. And again, in my opinion, even that is too long. But again, you can see that if you take some time, an evaluation, is a pretty lengthy process. So who do we have, right? When you're looking at ERP solutions, who's out there? Here's just a list of the top 10, right? You have your NetSuite, you have your SAP, you have Epicor and Sage, you have Oracle and Microsoft. These are the quote-unquote top 10 players. And if you were to look and you were to go back to the Nucleus research study that was done a little over 18 months ago, and this really, it changes but doesn't really change that much. if you look at this, you can see this is where SAP plays for the various products that they offer. This is where Microsoft Dynamics plays for the various different types of offerings they have. And this is where Oracle plays for their NetSuite and JD Edwards and PeopleSoft and eBiz products. So when you look at your vendors, you're always going to try to get up into the upper right-hand side. But again, simply because a lot of Oracle is there doesn't necessarily mean that that may be the right solution for you. You have to do your due diligence. So if you're not sure, then ask an organization that has familiarity not only with business and business process, but software packages as well. Now granted, if you're going to go to just an SAP shop and just ask, people that only know SAP, you're not really going to be able to get an answer from a more, germane, what about this product, that product, or the other. Don't do it alone if you don't need to. Find an organization that has not only the industry experience that you have, but has the product experience for the ERP solutions you're looking for, and or product ingenuity about being able to develop and integrate and help supplement those solutions you're looking for, because those partners are going to really bring the value to your selection process. Remember, if you turn around and do the same old thing, right, your ability to succeed is going to be very small. You have to turn around and say to yourself, we can't solve the problems we're having using the same thinking we had that created the problem. You need to step back. You need to understand that the forest is greater than the tree. You need to think positively. You need to understand that there's no harm in change. That's, believe it or not, in my experiences of 30 plus years, the apprehension of change is what ruins a lot of ERP selection and ERP implementations. It's people's apprehension of something new. So, what's more clear? The way it was in the past with pieces of paper and static reporting, or more graphical, intuitive type of presentation? What's going to help your organization? What's going to help your people? What's going to help you succeed and get better, reliable, timely information where you can act and make decisions on? How can I tell, looking at that top report, what product line is really the best going product line for my organization versus looking at the bar chart? The strength of digital technology, whatever it is, social, mobile, cloud, it's not the technology itself. It's you, how you and your company evaluate them and integrate them into your organization so that you can transform your business. It's how you can step back and digest all of that to say that this makes the most sense. So ask yourself a question. Are you truly ready to get the ERP solution you need? Or are you simply going through the motions to select the same old, same old? You have to ask yourself the question if you're ready or not. And with that, Joanne, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you, Tom, for a great presentation. I'm going to go ahead and take control back, and we'll get to the Q&A session in just a second. So if you guys want to go ahead and submit your questions at this time, please do so. Again, using the GoToWebinar console window. If you minimized it during the presentation, you can just click that left-facing red arrow, and it should maximize. So let's see. So today's webcast was part of our ongoing educational webcast series, and I've got the upcoming webcasts on the screen for you now. If you'd like to register, you can do so at www.getgsi.com/webcasts. And just a note, after the webcast, you will be receiving an email from GSI with a link to register for a resource center where you can access a recording from today's webcast, as well as a PDF copy of the presentation. The Resource Center offers a lot of great educational content. We have recordings of all of our webcasts, white papers, case studies, and a lot more. We also have a monthly newsletter called the GSI Insider, where you'll find great articles on tips and tricks, how-to videos, technology updates, and industry news. You can also find that out on getgsi.com. And then I also want to mention our workshops as part of our educational resources. We do host free educational workshops around the country on a variety of topics. These are great events that allow you to network with other organizations going through a similar journey. So please keep an eye out for the next tour. So I'd like to move to the Q&A session. Again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to submit those through the console.
All right. And so what I'll do, Joanne, is I'll just read the questions off and answer them so we can avoid the middle person.
Perfect.
Okay?
Perfect.
All right. So the first question is from Tim, and Tim would like to know, is there a way for my organization to determine what solution is best for the organization? And I guess really Tim is asking from a, on-premise, off-premise perspective, things like that, or, as far as what your business process is and what you're looking to accomplish. What I would suggest you do is I would suggest you engage an organization that can come in and perform for you what we refer to at GSI as a technology assessment and or a business value assessment. And basically what that means is we come into the organization and we look at your topography, we look at your systems, we look at how you're using your systems, and we're looking at, where you're looking to go and what type of solution you may be looking for, be it SAP, be it Oracle, be it Sage. And what we do is we help you understand that for those particular solutions, if you're looking to keep it on premise, what makes the most sense architecturally for you to do, or if you're looking to move to an off-premise solution or a hosted solution, what might you need to do? So again, we offer organizations opportunities to conduct not only those technology assessments, but even a business value assessment where we'll come in and we'll look at your operations and we'll look at what you're doing. And regardless of the ERP system, we'll just look at your process from a best practice perspective for your industry. And what we'll say to you is, well, you know what? Yeah, all of these processes are good, but, you can do it more efficiently. You can do it better if you did X, Y, and Z. So we offer those type of operational and technology assessments to organizations to help you determine what should you be looking for, okay? The next question comes from Sally. Sally says, is there a way to provide a business case for management one way versus the other? So again, Sally, that plays into the question that Tim just asked, in that have a provider, have an organization come in and work with you and do cost-benefit analysis. Have them come in and do a study to say, hey, you can save X hours over this process, Y hours over this process. You can alleviate these modifications, things like that, to help you build that cost justification for your organization. And again, at GSI, those are the type of things that we can help you with and help you do as well. So don't turn around and simply look at one thing and say, well, okay, yeah, I need to improve my inventory turns. You may have deeper problems with how you go and you put product to the shop floor to manufacture, right? There could be any number of different things that are leading to that issue. So have an organization come in and help you out. Right now, Joanne, I don't see any other questions that are out there. So if anybody else has a question, that's fine. If not, you have our contact information on the screen. feel free to just shoot me an email or Joanne with any other follow-up questions. I'll be more than happy to get back to you.
Thanks, Tom. Yes, and I wanted to comment on that as well. So if you did want to engage with GSI, kind of talk through your project, please reach out to one of us and we'll get that going for you. I did also want to ask that upon exiting, you fill out the survey that will pop up. It's a quick 1-minute survey, kind of gets your feedback on the webcast, what you liked, what could be improved, and any thoughts. And if you do fill that out, you go in a drawing to win a $25 Amazon gift card. So I'm not seeing any other questions come through last minute. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Again, Tom, thank you for such a great presentation.
Thanks, Joanne, and enjoy the rest of the day.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.